Hey everybody, this is Doc Mack from the Galloping Ghost Arcade out in Brookfield, Illinois. It's Monday, September 28th, 2015, and I am joined here, as always, by Gamer of the Year, Pete Hahn.
Hey everyone, how you doing?
And none other than Jeremy Fox of Prince Arcades.
Hello?
Wait, you're not Jeremy Prince? I thought your last name was Prince.
It's Fox.
That's misleading. No, I'm
It
just
is.
kidding.
It is. It's a lie. My stage name.
I guess first, thanks to everybody who was listening to the last podcast. It went over again really well. We got a lot of good feedback from that.
Yep.
But yeah, this time we wanted to have Jeremy out, and he's been such a huge force in helping us track down so many of the great arcade games that we have here, and so many rare games. And he's been great with making sure that they get here. And well, we love that private collectors get them too. We definitely like having them here for everybody to enjoy and
Absolutely.
Gets us some rare stuff here.
Absolutely. I remember what was the first game you picked up for us?
Well, the very
was it
first.
I remember you bringing F-Zero. That was crazy.
That was late.
That was it? What was your first one?
That was last year. First one ever was the Star Wars. The one that weighs a million pounds. That little...
The Atari Star Wars from 1983.
Yep.
The original?
Yeah.
Why does that weigh so much? A million pounds.
I swear there's a concrete base in that thing. It's
Carbonite.
heavier.
It's a carbonite
yeah.
base in the bottom.
Yeah, that was definitely a great one, and we have so many of our players, like I know Pete Gores and James White put so much time on that one. But yeah, it's I remember it being a different cabinet, but
What do you remember?
I remember, didn't you got us Discs of Tron?
I did get you Disc of Tron. It just so happens the day you asked for that, I had just talked to a guy 10 minutes earlier.
Yeah.
And I got it here the next morning.
That's crazy.
That was on the Grail list.
Yeah.
And, just the timing was pretty good.
Nice.
That.
I remember when we first started buying games from you. I know we had missed out on a few of them. Unfortunately, there was some cool stuff that you picked up that we missed out on just due to miscommunication.
Yeah.
But what was I don't know. You tell me. So, what were some of the most memorable pickups?
Well, that's a tough question. F-Zero that Pete brought up is a pretty good one because we had to rent a car hauler to move that thing. It doesn't fit in any trailers.
It doesn't come apart at all. It's just one piece the whole time.
I don't know if it comes... I mean, you could take the plastic shroud off the sides, but that doesn't really make it any smaller.
That's insane.
You probably could disassemble it, but I mean, I never got into that.
Right.
Really, because it's so... but I do remember driving down the highway with that thing. People were pointing and, you know...
That's awesome.
They had a spaceship on the back. It's pretty outstanding. We're just about to finish up another F-Zero.
Yes. Where's that going?
That's
You've gotten
to
2 others.
Yeah, 3 total. This next one we're finishing is going to Analog Arcade in Davenport, Iowa.
And those guys had stopped out here once.
Yeah.
And talked
Good
with
guys.
them, and they seem great. And
Are they new or I haven't?
Yeah, they're opening.
Well, they're opening next month. By the way, we have an invite to the grand opening party.
Oh, very
And
nice.
Zespy, so we'll have to let him know that.
Very cool.
I think they're opening mid-November or mid-October. Well, maybe it is October. But I went out there and got to see the place, and it's an old bank building. It's quite incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're making little hangout rooms in the vaults and stuff, and it's a real neat building.
That's awesome.
Cool town. It's a nice little town.
Yeah, Iowa being we picked up our first batch of games out in Iowa, so there's definitely places to get good games there. We picked up 114 games from Iowa.
That's a chunk of games.
For sure. Enough to open an arcade, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, huge shout outs to those guys up at Analog, and we wish them the best. And as always, anything that we can do to be of help to them to promote their business. And
yeah.
Are they going for the coin? Are they going to go pay for play, or
they are doing token? So
yeah,
I think they had custom tokens made. If I'm correct.
Okay.
But yeah,
that's been one of the key. Talking right now, we've just signed up with our 17th place that we're talking with them as they're opening up.
That's great.
Been very, very interesting, and I've got so many strong opinions on the token versus paper play, and a lot of people do. It's a lot of people like the rolling the quarter, but
I like the thought of putting a quarter in. I just don't think it's as viable. Yeah.
Honestly, I think it goes for a tough business model because then your games have to really perform. Mm. Like if you have, it's surprising. Like games like Donkey Kong, like don't get much play, and if you want to make it a viable business model, that you have to go by. It's like coin count.
It's like the Wild West though. Like you only can keep what you really can keep. Like you're gonna run out of space with stuff that's not performing. Then you want to put stuff that's gonna make money for you. You know,
right?
It's
if there's games that are more difficult and people are not wanting to lose their quarter in it because they only last for 10 seconds on it.
Right.
They're never going to get good at that game.
That's me on Donkey Kong.
I'm horrible at Donkey Kong. Absolutely.
But yeah, it's like, but then you'd never try anything new, like what you would do here. Like I've tried so many games I would have never tried before because I didn't want to stick a token, not knowing what would happen. Yep. You know, I might die in 10 seconds, or I might love the game.
Right.
And if you know you're going to die in 10 seconds, you're never going to get practice on it when you're using quarters.
Right.
Well, and that was really one of the strong. When we started writing the business model, knowing that we wanted it to be the entry fee, we wanted people to find new games and really explore, and it was really me reflecting on how I used to play. And I've told this story a million times where I would always play my staple games like Double Dragon, and I would want to play a bunch of Operation Wolf and Altered Beast and Golden Axe and Narc for sure. But yeah, it kept me from checking out a lot of other cool games that it was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to like that, so maybe I won't play it.
Yep. I'm sure the same thing happened to me.
Yeah.
I'm sure I didn't try stuff that, I mean, I rarely branched away from fighting games when I went to an arcade. Yeah. Growing up, I mean, yeah.
Same way today if you go to one. I mean, even though the quarter's not really an object, it's kind of in your mind, you know, that you're...
Yeah.
You know, this is going to last 10 seconds. I'm not going to put my quarter in.
Yep.
Sure. How did you get into arcade sales?
Well, you know, I'm not sure exactly how many years ago it was, but there was a produce mart on the corner by my house, and it was right across the street from a school. And I knew this scout for the Minnesota Twins who lived in, I think it's Stony Island out there. And he had a ton of games in his garage, and I ended up doing a deal with him where I bought a Commando, a Miss Pac-Man, and now I'm forgetting it was a sit-down driver, red cabinet.
Cruising USA?
No, before that.
Oh.
Race driving?
Daytona?
No.
Hard driving?
Man.
Daytona's red, right?
Well, yellow. One of the Daytonas. At any rate, I put these 3 games in the produce mart, and they did really good. And then I remember, you know, there wasn't Craigslist or, you know, and I certainly wasn't on eBay. I know eBay was around, but I was not on it. And, you know, the Commando ended up having a board problem, and I ended up buying more games from him just because I had a problem with the one, and I didn't know anyone to fix it, of course, you know, back then. And just kind of went from there. We kind of got into, you know, the quarter machines that sell the eggs with the toys in them, and the gumball machines and sticker machines, and then we graduated to snacks and soda machines, and we sold that off and just focused on the games. Mm-hmm. there's a lot of waste in the snack and soda business, and a lot of driving, a lot of maintenance on those, in my opinion. So we got into the games, and kind of like several other things, it made more financial sense to buy them and put some time and money into them and sell them than it really did to route them. I mean, because unless you had absolutely killer locations, it wasn't worth routing them.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of guys route still, and if you've got great locations, that's awesome. But so that's kind of how we got into it, and then the sickness just grew. Now it's become, many storages full.
So you don't currently have any games out on route anywhere?
We have no games on route. No, not for quite a few years.
So you're in an interesting position where you deal with you do a lot of private home sales, collector sales.
Yeah.
You obviously know a lot of people at arcades that you sell to. Like when we get a question all the time of like how do you price your games? Like what determines the value of a game that you're selling?
It's kind of easier on the super rare games to have a price point because they're super rare, but the average games, it is hard to price them. You got to kind of feel what someone's going to pay for it, really. And we don't try to make $1 million on one game. That's the thing. I've been criticized a few times for selling games too low by other people in the industry and stuff, but that's kind of, I like to price stuff to where maybe I would buy it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Sure.
I mean, some people might ask $1,000 for a game and put it on eBay for $1,000 or something. It might sit there for 6-7 months, and to me, that means your price is too high. Mm-hmm. If you put something on and it sells in a week or two, that means you were right there with the market.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I mean, there's certain stuff I ask more for if it's something really hard to find, or maybe we put an extra amount of money and time into it. We got to get a little more out of it, but there's not a huge margin on one game. Mm-hmm. It's more quantity.
So do you feel like you like to have it so you both the customer and you feel like you got a good deal?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I want to see the customer again. I don't want to do a hit and run where
right.
I get their money once and I never talk to them again. I want to repeat business with them. And
it worked on Doc.
Yeah. The master plan worked.
Has there ever been a time where you've picked games up for me all over the place? Has there been a time where it's been like, oh, this guy again, he's going to want something that's out 1 million miles away?
No, I actually like doing it,
Yeah.
If the time is right and there's time available in the day to do something, I'll always do it. I like going around different places, you know. I know a lot of times we've talked about having a driver go out or something, but there's been so many situations where we go to look at one game and end up leaving with 5. Mm-hmm. Because maybe the person didn't mention they have all these other games and they were looking to sell them. You called on one item or something,
Yeah.
There's been quite a few situations where you left with something even better than the original piece you went for. You end up getting some bonus in there. And that's why we don't necessarily just have a driver that goes out around picking up unless it's, an out-of-state run and it's very, untimely or something.
Yeah.
Then we'll have somebody do it, but...
Well, and usually myself, early on I was all into driving around and
the warehouse raid.
Doing the warehouse raid. I went actually to the first Iowa one, and then my schedule just got to the point where it was difficult to go.
Mm-hmm. Right off the bat for you there.
Right.
Yeah.
We've gone on several trips and checked out. Probably still to this date, my favorite trip, I believe it was out to, we met up with a guy named Troy.
Blooming. That was Blooming. That's Illinois, right on the border.
Decatur, yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys were working a deal. I had picked up. What did we get? We got like Ghostbusters, and
yes,
we got a handful of games, and we set our deal up. And then you and Troy started talking, and just seeing you two were negotiating a deal. And it was on a Carnival.
I forgot about this.
Carnival?
It was on a Carnival. It was on
the big Showtime cabinet.
It was the big Showtime Carnival cabinet. And it came down to you didn't agree on the price.
Right.
You were about $200 off a piece. And it was I've seen where some people just will not budge on price, and it's just kind of like whatever.
And we've left with empty trucks before.
It's happened.
Yeah.
But sometimes you meet sellers that are really cool, really fun, and they left it up to you guys came down to let's coin toss for it.
That was fun.
That's awesome.
And that was one of the coolest things that I ever seen. And there's so many great people in this industry that are they make it fun to buy and sell games.
He is a super cool guy. He's a good guy. And
even better, it ended up going in your favor.
Right, which I can't argue with that.
Nice.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Tell us a story about one of your favorite pickups where either you found something or just something really cool happened. And
I'm gonna have to stew on that one for a minute.
Yeah,
I'm gonna think about that one for a minute. It was a year or two ago. We did get. We went to this estate sale, and I went about 4 a.m. Parked outside. They had advertised that they're going to have a couple of games there. And I had a couple other guys in the industry that I know that actually came up to my truck at about 5 a.m. and said, "Are you here for the games?" And I was like, "Yep." And so they left. But it was, because when you go to an estate sale, you got to sign in. Like, the first person there will have a notebook.
Oh, you got like dibs on it?
In the middle of the night.
Oh, okay.
There'll be someone sitting in a car with a notebook, and then when you pull up, they come up to you.
Okay.
And they go on the list what time you're here and what you're here for. So usually it's kind of self-organizing. And it's not ever an employee that does that. It's just the first customer. So we did go in and get a Mappy that had the 200 plays on it. You remember that one?
Yeah, that was outstanding.
It still had the plastic on the sides from the factory, like when you get the new dishwasher with that plastic sheeting. And, it was just, it's outstanding. And I think they asked for $250 for it or something.
No, that's awesome.
I don't think I've ever seen anything cleaner. That was a pretty good one. The best, I don't know. Let me think about the best one for a while. It's kind of.
If you want, I can go over high scores while you stew on that.
Yeah, let's go over
All right.
some high scores.
All right. So our last podcast was on the 17th, so we're going to look at scores set on the 17th to now. I think while we were actually recording, what?
You had actually, we'll start out with you as Gamer of the Year. You put up a new X Multiply world record.
That was like that might have been the night before we recorded last time. I don't know if we mentioned it last week or last time.
I don't know if we did.
Well, anyway, yeah, I looped the game. And I'm at 5.2 some million now.
I think you did that on the 19th.
Oh, okay.
So that would have been just after.
That would have been just after then. Yeah, the game, like, you beat it and then it starts over again.
And your score keeps going?
And your score keeps going.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know they did that.
Rollover score, yeah.
Yeah.
I figured it would start over.
Yeah, some games the score rolls over. Some games like the levels just start over,
yeah.
But you keep your score intact. Like Pac-Man, all the 9 just roll over and they go back to 0, and then your score starts again.
That's a neat game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why I said rollover score.
Yeah. So yeah, that I did. And I was really happy with that run. It was really good. It's on YouTube. I set it to public, so anyone that wants to see it is on. It's going to be on the same channel as this podcast, so you can see it if you want.
Awesome. I saw on Sunday. I saw Tim Foley put up a new NARC score.
Yeah, it was like 807,000.
Yeah,
I want to say
just awesome. Just really cool watching him progress in that game.
Cool. Were you showing him some stuff?
Yeah, I've been. I showed him up to like level 3, and was showing him how to get just a little bit about how the AI in the game works and at what point the rank goes up.
Okay.
So.
Cool. Actually, I think right when we were recording, Mozzie's was here, and he was starting to do some work for the day. He at that point he put up a score that had just beaten Eric Kim's Raiden 2 score. Eric Kim had since taken it back, but at that time it was Mozzie's had the world record on it at 604,000.
Yeah.
And then he also put up a new world record in Crackdown that night as well.
Crackdown is. I'm glad he started playing that. That's been one that's been on my list of stuff that I want to get back to.
It's on your radar?
Oh, it's a great game. I played it a ton on the Genesis.
Yeah.
And I know that score. In talking with Mozzie, he's even said there's a lot of room left on that. So,
cool.
Can't wait to. Hopefully that score will keep going up.
Yeah. And then we had a 2-player submission from Jamie Tibbetts and Mozzie's. They overtook the James Sean Quigley score in
Yes.
Blasteroids. And Sean was talking smack last time, so I think they heard the challenge and they rose to it.
Maybe trouble.
Let's see what else. Oh, we had James come really close to matching the world record in Star Castle. He's literally like a couple hundred points behind the world record now.
Yeah, he was on that. He was putting a lot of time on it on
like
Saturday.
Friday and Saturday. Saturday he was on there for hours.
Yeah,
he had like the stanchion around him.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think the world record's like around 29,000. He's like 28.5.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's like right there. He's like
That's
within
right
a few hundred points. So good luck to him in his you know, obviously he has a new house high, but he's really close to that world record. So hopefully James sees that soon.
Yeah.
What else do we have? We have more people putting up Russian attack scores.
Yeah.
We have Sean put up 123,000 and Duke put up 95,000 on Friday. Whenever we had a kind of a crowd gathering back there with it was me, Sean, Brian Shillow, and Duke were all playing it.
Yeah.
Everyone's just been getting into it lately, and it was just kind of cool that we're all kind of gravitating toward it at the same time.
That's really awesome, and timely too. It was. We had talked about this last week. We had actually, me and Jeremy had drove out a couple weeks ago, and we picked up the MIA board.
Yeah.
So that'll be going up soon.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah, like I'm really enjoying Russian Attack. I never really got into it before. Like I played it a few credits during Konami Week and didn't really think to put more time into it, but now that I have, I'm really liking it. Like
yeah.
I increased my score a little bit on Sunday after my shift, or Saturday after my shift, but I'm at like 244K now. Still a far cry from Rocco's 500,000, but I'm getting there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And then, of course, we had Eric Kim take back the world record. He beat Mozzie's scores at 650,000 plus now in Raiden 2, and that was on the 21st. Eddie put up a Gradius score.
Yes.
Yeah. It was kind of just more of like, this is where we're starting. This is where we're setting the bar, and then I heard Eddie wasn't going to try to beat his score until someone beat his, so I put up a score on it. Yeah,
that game is. I guess Eddie had played it again, and he was getting close, but the race to break 100,000 in that is on, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna spend more time on it, or are you?
I'm preoccupied.
Russian Attack.
Yeah, I'm rushing to attack Russian Attack right now. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm pretty preoccupied right now. I mean, I'll play it casually, but I don't think I'm going to devote too much time to it, at least yet. I don't know, maybe at some point, but that game hurts your hand and your ego at the same time. Like, you got to keep pressing the button, and it kills you.
It is tough.
Yeah,
it is tough.
Let's see what else. Oh, we had James also put up a new House High and Super Pac-Man.
Yes,
was that Saturday as well?
That was Saturday as well.
And then on Friday, I want to say Norbert came out. I think it was Friday. Norbert came out and put up a Vampire Savior. The first one, not the second one, a new world record in that. That was Friday night, and then Haruza beat that score Saturday, so Haruza has the world record now in Vampire Savior.
Yeah.
Norbert put up 421,000, and Haruza's at 459,000. And then finally we had Tim Foley put up a new Judge Dredd world record, which is kind of an introductory score. I don't think anyone else has any scores up right now, do they?
No, that was the inaugural score.
Okay.
I know I think Eddie was gonna try to put up a score in it.
Okay.
We'll see if he does that in the next couple of days.
So Tim should enjoy it. While it lasts there.
What is he? He has 6,336.
Yeah.
Which
I don't know how the scoring works. I don't know how good that is.
I've never even played it. I've never played it. I mean, like, how good I have played it.
And he was just kind of messing around. He just was trying to just put anything up. So
Okay.
puts the bar in place. So we'll see if anybody comes in and takes it.
Yeah, that gets us about caught up. That's everything.
Very cool.
From the last podcast, which was the 17th. So a lot of good scores, and keep going with them.
Yeah, it's been great seeing Mossies and Tibbets and Eric Kim. Like, I know he was trying a couple of new games. Jeremiah had recommended Arrow Fighters, and
Oh, cool.
he was looking at Dragon Spirit and everything. So it's excellent to see some new high score people coming in. And
With Dragon Saber or Dragon Spirit?
Dragon Spirit. He was going to look at both.
Okay.
But I think he's starting with Dragon Spirit.
Okay, cool.
Which, we had this Saturday, we had a family in from Iowa, which usually Saturdays have been incredibly busy. We're running around, and I had this kid come up to me, and he's very quiet, very polite kid, and he's like, I just set a new score in Galaga. And I just kind of was like, oh, cool, that's great. Like, we hear that so often here, where a young kid will come up and
it's the highest on the machine for the day,
it's the highest on the machine for the day, or they continued a million
Yeah.
times. Earlier in that day, there was a kid that came up to me saying that he got the new Thunderblade world record, and I was like, okay. So I was like, he's like, I'm the world record holder now, and I'm like, I'll have to watch you play it. So I went over, and I forget who has the score, but it's like 3 million. The world record's 4 million. Yeah, yeah.
Oh my god! It's
And
several hour game.
It's a long game. I watched until it wasn't even 3 minutes into the game, and the kid had maybe 170,000 points and was killed off, and he just continued. And he looked back at me to see if I noticed that he continued. I'm like, no,
he's trying to act all coy about
it.
Yeah.
Right. Like, oh, this guy won't notice.
What if I can do this 20 more times without him seeing it?
He was only about 4 million shy of the world record, though. But
I wonder if some kids even think about that. If it still counts if they're hitting the extra.
Well, a lot of them just don't know.
Yeah.
They just don't know.
Yeah.
And but anyway, this other kid, the next kid came up to me, and that's usually
The case.
like the Saturday morning is just telling kids that you can't continue. But this kid came up to me, and he's like, "Oh, I'm playing Galaga, and I got a new score," and I just like, oh, awesome, I'll try to stop over, and kept coming up to me, and I told him the last time, he was very quiet, I couldn't hear what scores he was getting, so I told him, I'm like, oh, if you go beat your score again, and I'll give you a Galloping Ghost Arcade t-shirt. And he seemed all excited, and he ran off to go do it. So I went over, and I
followed you.
I was trying to go get a game of Narcan.
Yeah.
And I hear the button presses behind me, and I'm like looking at I'm like, oh, that's something. Somebody's playing Galaga pretty seriously, and it's this kid.
Yeah, he was playing it properly, like he was double tapping it with the right cadence.
Yeah.
You know, it was super impressive to watch this kid. I watched him for maybe 5 minutes, but he had over 500,000 already, and he was like in level 20 or 30 when I was watching him play.
Yeah. And I had gone up to the counter, and the dad came over, and he's like, "Can you come check my son play Galaga for a minute?" And I'm like, yeah, like totally. And he was on level 70.
Jeez.
And just rocking Galaga. And this kid is
8.
I think he was either 6 or 8.
I think it was 8.
That's
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
That's great.
And he had his brother there who was 4 years old.
Oh man.
And his brother is like he's pulling on my pant leg, and he's like, "Come watch me play Robotron." Like,
he's gonna give us all lessons now.
Yeah, well, and he cleared the first stage, and the kid clearly knew what he was doing. Like, he had, and talking with the dad and these two kids who are, I think 4 and 8, or 5 and 8.
Yeah,
were just so into classic arcade gaming.
That's awesome.
And the kids, he's like, "Oh, let's go play a game together. Can you watch me play Dragon Spirit?" And he totally knew Dragon Spirit.
That's awesome. Most 8-year-olds would be like, "What's that?"
Right,
yeah.
right. So
yeah,
it was
rare that anyone under 20 would even, you know.
They're going to stuff like Xevious, and they knew about the cabinets. They knew about the companies and when it came out, and it's so amazing to see younger gamers just into the classic games. And
that's encouraging, because I thought they were all just like, "Oh, Xbox Live, that's the only game there is."
Right.
You know, Call of Duty.
Like, we get a ton of kids in here. Like, every week there's a ton of kids in here, and they're checking stuff out, but it's infrequent that we have younger gamers come in with such an appreciation of the classics.
Yeah.
And it's just great. It's great to see it. So I honestly, I don't remember the names off the top of my head.
I don't either.
But we encourage them to come back out. Like, they were very big into wanting to go to Fun Spot, but like, this is closer and more games, and so we hope to see them back around the arcade soon. We took their contact information so we can reach out to them, and we've talked so many times about doing a kids scoring guild.
I think I know who's my money's gonna be on.
Right.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it's something.
15 and under or something.
Yeah.
Neat.
Like guys like Josh Henderson, who.
Well, he's like 17 now, isn't he?
He came here. He was, I think, 13, 14
when he first started coming. Yeah.
And he blew up all the pinball scores, and
he put up like House of the Dead and some other stuff
Carnival,
too. Carnival, yeah, that's right.
1 credit completed Carnival.
Oh, I can't even do it.
Yeah, he completed House of the Dead also. I watched him do it. I think I recorded that run too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just great seeing like kids that are focused on arcade gaming and that take scoring seriously, and we want to perpetuate that however we can.
For sure.
And speaking of Carnival, it's one of your favorites, isn't it?
I think it probably is my favorite.
Yeah.
Altogether my favorite. And I just got a nice dedicated one the other day.
For yourself?
You know, intention's always there, but as stuff comes and goes so quick, it's hard to just hold on to one. I mean, you know, I know more will come along.
Sure. How many Carnivals do you think you've...
Well, we had... I think we had 4 last year, and the year prior, maybe 3, and then after that it's all foggy. So I didn't really start writing stuff down till this year, on your suggestion actually, because believe it or not, I just kind of bought and sold and never kept track of what, you know.
Yeah.
But it's kind of nice now to see what we're doing. We're trying to put a tally at the end of every month on Facebook to just kind of keep the excitement there, because it is a lot of stuff that comes and goes, and I don't think a lot of people realize the actual numbers of amount of games that come and go. It's astronomical. All that said, I don't know what the number is right now. Do you have it written down though?
Well, it must be satisfying to... I remember when I purchased my first arcade game for my house. It was Narc, and the guy... I even remember his name was Lenny, and this is 90... Jeez, this had to be 95, 94, 95.
Oh, wow.
And I remember him pulling up, and he had it in his truck, and he's dialing it out, and I just remember being so happy to get this game that I loved playing in the arcade. It was going to now be in my house. So I can only imagine how many people, how many birthdays and Christmas, and how many times these are given as presents, and how you must have some just amazing stories of some elated customers just getting their their favorite game, or
You know, we do the Santa delivery, which is fun. There's a lot of games bought for anniversaries and such that, you know, the guy will buy for the wife or vice versa, and then we'll have to get in the basement while they're at work, and when they come home it's a surprise, which is really neat, you know. The Santa delivery is fun because me and my friend Bill will go out. You know, I think last year Christmas Eve we took 6 or 7 out for delivery, and we sneak in these houses. There was one situation where there was kids having a sleepover on the living room floor, and we literally carried the game, stepping over the bodies, and I mean we had to get it was pretty cool, and we managed to do it without waking anybody up, which is awesome, and get the plastic wrap off and everything without anybody stirring, which is fun. But yeah, the surprise gifts are very awesome. That's definitely fun, and we always wish we could see people's faces, but we don't always get to see the reactions. But a lot of times they'll do a posting about it or something, maybe a picture of someone all excited, which is, I like to see that stuff. That's fun. A lot of this is for personal enjoyment, of course. You know.
Do you get a lot of Facebook feed requests, or where do you get a lot of your contact from?
It used to be you know, it's eBay. That's about a dried up issue anymore, I think. You know, you can go there for certain things, but we don't do a lot on eBay. We don't really do a ton on Craigslist anymore. I mean, it used to be, even up until about maybe 2 years ago, Craigslist was pretty hot, but there's a lot of deals to be had on Craigslist. You know, you can find them. And there's numerous other classified sites throughout the U.S. that we look at. But Facebook is pretty big.
Cool.
It's pretty big. We lost our page a few months ago.
yeah,
Because we were structured wrong on the Facebook rules, and I guess didn't even realize that how we had set it up years ago, but it kind of crashed one day, and then all of a sudden we had to make a new one. But we're kind of back as far as like a decent following and numbers go and stuff.
I notice you participate in like festivals and stuff sometimes where
Yeah.
like it's I think you brought, how many games did you bring to?
We took 20 to Bolingbrook Jubilee about a month and a half ago, I guess it was. That was fun. But I believe we got like 2 sales out of that, which is cool, you know. So we went and set up, and then we just charged $5 to get in the tent, and we had 20 games, and everything's on free play. It's more or less of a hang-around thing. There's no money involved in that. It's more or less for fun, and then we got some friends at the village that, you know, they were calling us, bugging us, saying, let's go do this again. We did it last year.
Do you guys go to a Midwest Gaming Classic and stuff like that?
We went as, you know, we went as guests of Doc here.
Oh, okay. Just to hang out or to sell stuff? Or?
No,
we didn't hang out for very long.
It was, I remember we were all set up at the last one, and this had to be Thursday night.
Oh, that was this show, yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And we're all looking around, and
That would be April 10th.
April 10th.
Yeah.
Why do you know that date?
My wife's birthday, yeah.
So it's around 11 o'clock, and we're setting up, and the truck's empty, and I'm counting the games, and I'm like, wait, we're missing something. We forgot something. And it was Primal Rage 2 that we had made quite a big deal about having it at the show.
And everybody knows that you have that. I mean, it is a big deal game.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
So we had all of our guys here out at Brookfield, Wisconsin, and we're like, what are we going to do here? Like, and I remember hesitantly calling up Jeremy going like, how can I even ask this to be like, it's 11 o'clock. Can you go to the arcade and pick up Primal Rage 2 and drive it out to Wisconsin in the middle of the night? And I'm like, oh, I'll do it. Like, why not? So
You probably thought I was going to say no.
I thought he was going to say no. And then he's like, it's my wife's birthday. and I'm like, oh. And he's like, as soon as I heard him be like, well, how bad do you need this? Mm-hmm. And I was like, pretty bad. Mm-hmm. And then he was just like, you could tell there was like, this isn't going to be easy, but all right, yeah. It was a slight hesitation, but
she went with.
She went with. So. I remember you got there, and I'm like, man, she is just going to hate me. Yeah. Like, but yeah, it was like that's one of the things. You do so much for this place, and you go so far out of your way, and not even just with us. Like, it's one thing for us to get games, and like that makes us really happy getting these rare things. You get so many rare games for your customers, and you help other arcades. And we had talked to Walter about Walter Day about your impact on the industry. And it's like, thinking about it, even with us, how many games that you've gotten for us.
I don't actually know. I thought about walking it through and trying to do a count one day, but I never done it yet.
Yeah. And there's a good mix of, there's some that it's
you're responsible for a lot of our cabinet upgrades, like a lot of the stuff we had before but not original cabinets.
Yeah.
And that's good. That's good that can happen. Yeah. You know, that's neat. It's a big deal to a lot of people, so it's good.
I know you've often taken, like, Assault, the Assault cabinet. We had our cabinet that we had just put on new side art, but the control panel was bad, and you just got one. Yeah. And it ended up, you're like, hey, your cabinet should be nicer, and trade us control panels, so we have the original sticks. And
nice.
It's a lot of the little things like that I don't think people recognize, or the stuff like Midwest Gaming Classic, where you're driving all night long to go make people in the industry happy. And really, just, I can't say enough. Like, thank you for everything that you've done, and it was great to have you.
You're quite welcome.
Honored with one of the Walter Day's cards.
That was completely unexpected. I had a red face on that one. I didn't know what the. I mean, I'm out there like, why do I have a card? It's crazy.
Well,
but thank you.
Absolutely, yeah. It's very well deserved. Like, you're quietly impacting so many elements within the community, and like, we get praised all the time from people like, oh, thanks for having this cabinet, and it's like,
there's a backstory besides just having it here, and that's where you come in.
It's funny, there's a story behind every single cabinet, you know. Yeah. It's funny when you think about that. Yeah. I mean, the dictionary is actually full, you know.
Again, it's
stories.
Like, you've gone out so many places. Like, I've been all over the place, but you go to 10 times the places that I go, and I get a lot of updates from you of, like, oh, I got there and all the cabinets were waterlogged and terrible.
Some people aren't completely honest about what they. Unfortunately, you spend the time and money to get there and find out that they were fudging a bit.
I remember one time you called me up and you're like, I got this deal. It's going to be great. Like, let's go. This guy's got a small warehouse.
Yeah, I remember.
And I was...
Liar, huh?
I'm always tough to get out of here sometimes. And I know that's a bad thing. Just like, I like to go check the stuff out, but it is hard for me to get away. But this was one I went out on with you. And we drove 3 hours, and...
yeah.
We got to the address, and there was not a building there.
Yeah.
This sounds like a comic book or something.
First thought is, all right, what competitor's trying to mess me up today?
Right.
Must have been a good deal going on somewhere else.
But yeah, it's there's countless stories.
That was the only time that happened, luckily.
Yeah.
That happened too many times.
Maybe there was a tent there before you got there, and it was filled with games.
It was a house. It was a residential house. And then, like, the neighbor was
neighbor came out, and he was like, yeah, that guy across the street had a Primal Rage cabinet.
Yeah, he has a bunch of arcade games. I think they're all gone, though. Like it was like half a deal. Like, I don't know if someone came an hour before us and just cleaned the guy out or what the heck
Just got
happened.
sniped,
But,
yeah.
Yeah, it was, but, he wouldn't answer the phone or answer the door, so we figured maybe he just gave a few people the address and everybody came out at the same time.
That was probably the second worst trip that I've been on.
Yeah, probably.
I digress from the first trip, though. That's another podcast.
Yeah.
We'll have that story one day. If there's enough requests to hear a true horror story of a trip.
True American horror.
Yes. But, do you have any other memorable trips or... Like, just jump into mind. Like, thinking of even our most recent cabinets that we got, and how many the deals that you've set up, like Crater Raider.
Oh, and that is such a great game. I never played it till it got here.
Yeah.
And boy, do I enjoy that game.
Great music.
The music, the Tron kind of stereo sound is outstanding. And what a fun game. You don't have to be great at games to play it, which I'm not. But I can play that game, so it's a fun game.
I've been, just since your interest in the gaming scene is always been kind of fascinating to me, as like you do play the stuff.
Yeah.
But you're not in the scoring.
No.
On it or finishing the game. Like, your interest seems to lie with the hunt for the games.
It is more the hunt. I gotta say, the last console that I seriously played on at home would be a 2600.
Yeah.
I mean, my kids have every console, and they're at GameStop at midnight buying the games when they come out and stuff, and they're big time into the new stuff. But I mean, we were just talking. I haven't even played the new Mortal Kombat yet. Yeah. My kids bought it at the midnight release.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't tried it yet. I've been wanting to try it, but I just haven't done it. Yeah. I'm better off at part 2, which is like one of my favorite cabinets.
Great cabinet.
One of my favorite cabinets.
Raiden on the side.
The Carlos Pacina's side art is amazing.
And of course, all the Mortal Kombat guys are such outrageous guys anyway. I mean, they're just nice guys, you know?
Absolutely.
Good guys. What was that question you...
It's just more about the... like your interest in the scene. It's not like you sell your games at sometimes under market value.
I think most of them are under.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And you're not playing them, so it's not a fiscal thing, and it's not a... Like, I know the two games that you really like to buy, being Mappy and Carnival, are your two personal favorites.
I have both of those right now.
but it's odd, like, collectors buy the stuff and keep it.
Right.
And, like, the sellers, there's so many collectors that turn around and sell.
Yeah, they'll keep them a year or something, and you kind of play them out.
Turn them over, and it's like Crater Raider, for example. There's a collector I know who wanted $3,000 for it.
That's a lot for that.
And it is, but I had never seen one before that.
So you were going to go for it, or?
I didn't want to spend. I wasn't going to spend $3,000 on a Crater Raider.
Okay.
The great game. Cabinet was amazing.
Yeah.
Super rare. It's too much. It's way too much
and not to say you can't get that though. Like, okay, if someone a professional collector had that slot missing in their collection, they really wanted it, you'd probably sell that for $3,000.
Absolutely.
But then again, you're going to sit on it for
until you find that person.
For a year or better or whatever to find that, and that's I've never been into that too much.
I just really think it's like you found us our Craterator, and you basically, I believe, just gave it to us for the price he was selling it for.
Oh yeah, I did.
It was like $300, and
crazy.
It is an outstanding deal.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
You get it. What shipped all together was $7, including the purchase, right? Something
Right.
like
And that was just an outstanding thing. Like, everybody has been loving the game. Like Matt Rocco, James White.
Very cool game.
A lot of our new guys that have put some time on it. We had even George Petro and Brian Colin were like, oh, I haven't seen one of these in forever, and what a cool game.
Yeah.
Did they play it back then?
They did. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Both of them did.
Would have been in their waiting room practically, right?
For sure. For sure. But you can just see from that, it's like you seem very passionate about getting the games in people's hands, and it's just like it's odd to see that in this industry, which is why, again, we just want.
Most people's passions are for, like, they want to either keep the game themselves or they want to set a high score or world record. It's not.
Or if they're flipping it, they want to make a lot of money.
Right. It's about one of those three things, but not about getting it to someone else.
Almost like when people tell me the most difficult game they've been having a hard time finding, I like to kind of conquer that. And even though it wasn't my goal to find that game, it was theirs.
Right.
I like to hunt that out and find it. And it's always fun to see a reaction from someone when someone goes, I've been looking for this for 10 years, and like, you found it in a week.
Yeah.
That's fun. That's a rush.
Cool.
It is. And it's not about making, $500 or $1,000 on every game, because that's rare that anything gets that much profit out of it, hardly anything. The hunt is fun. It's outstanding. It's a great time. A lot of people have said, I want to go on a raid with you.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this stuff, the coolest part about it is it's not really planned. It just happens.
Uh-huh.
Like, you don't plan these things. They just, like, you'll go to pick up a game, and then someone will be like, oh, by the way, I got 37 of them in my barn out back, and you could take them all for $25 a piece,
Yeah.
And it's just, that's where your special fun happens. I mean, it's never planned.
Right.
It's never planned. It just kind of happens on the day-to-day.
What's the best way for people to get in touch with you? And I assume most people give you lists of games, and then just as you stumble upon them.
They do.
Is that the best way to do it?
It is the best way to do it. There's got to be patience exercise there, because I don't want to tell anyone I walk on water or somewhere that I can absolutely find your game that you want. A lot of people, they'll ask for something, they'll call once a week seeing if I got it yet. So
Right,
it's kind of
right.
like, I'm trying, but and again, it just happens. But Facebook, Prince Arcades is probably the best. I have a website, but it's under construction, so we'll get that done sometime in the future. But it's not really priority, because Facebook's so easy to, communicate on.
Yeah.
So
Cool. Well, we definitely can't wait to see. We definitely have a list on file with you.
yes.
Even though it's getting harder to find stuff.
You have so much stuff in your collection that the obscure stuff is all that's left to get.
Very true.
You lack nothing common, and that's, hunting for you is a little trickier now.
Well, we did just manage to put some new games up recently. Most recently was Gradius 3.
Yep.
Which, really cool.
Really hard.
Really hard.
Is it?
It's extremely hard. Most people will die within 30 seconds. And
Yeah.
it's not. I mean, most other like Radius games, like the first one, most people will last a few minutes. Like this one, you're done really quickly.
Mm.
And it's really hard to recover once you lose your power-ups.
Mm-hmm. Like you're like flying through molasses. Like you can't move. You can't maneuver through bullets. You're just crippled. Yeah.
Let's try it. That sounds
It's
cool.
a great game. The cabinet is actually set up. It's a 2-in-1 with Gradius 4.
Mm-hmm.
So we now have the entire Gradius. We have Nemesis, Gradius 2, Gradius 3, Gradius 4.
You have the whole franchise.
Life Force.
Life Force,
Nice.
Salamander 2, and Solar Assault.
Solar Assault. Yeah.
So I guess the only Odomedius would be the only.
Would they have an
spin-off.
arcade release?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have it on Xbox. I didn't know it had an arcade release.
Yeah. Super rare.
Oh, what about Parodius? Are those part of the saga?
Is that
There's the Vic Viper in it.
Is it the Vic Viper in it?
There's, among other things in it. Yeah.
I've got. I do have. I think we have 1 or 2 of them.
Okay.
We should probably get the rest of those up.
Cool.
But the
I would play
main
those.
staple.
Yeah. The Gradius and Nemesis and Life Force games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are the main
And
ones.
Solar Assault.
Yeah.
But then also we just put up the Midway prototype game of Judge Dredd that was being worked on in 1992, 1993.
Was that to coincide with the movie release, or was it before? Was it the movie before then?
The movie came out after.
Oh, it did.
It was just kind of.
So was the game based on a comic, and then
It was
movie
based,
on the
on the comic
too,
book. It was mostly at that time. I don't think there was much info out there on Judge Dredd. It was pretty much just the comic.
Okay.
97 Acclaim put out another. They actually released an arcade light gun game that we also have. This one, the Midway prototype, a lot of cool stuff about it. It was a long time getting it up and running. We had found out Star Worlds had actually had it out in DeKalb.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we first saw the game. Years and years before we even opened the arcade. Me and Lumbo,
Oh, cool.
who worked on Dark Presence, the arcade game with us. We went out to DeKalb, check out Star Worlds, and they had it, and it was heard that it was a prototype and was really cool, and had always been kind of on the lookout for it.
Mm-hmm.
That was one that no matter how hard we tried, we couldn't find one, so we had to go a different route with making that cabinet.
Yeah, that would never be found.
No.
Just isn't there.
We should have a Baby Goro on the side.
Yeah.
That would have been cool.
Well, the hardware in the game was actually the Midway T unit, which was the same board used in NBA Jam Tournament Edition, and Mortal Kombat 1 and 2. So the ROMs for Judge Dredd were actually preserved online. So we downloaded them, made new chips,
That's great.
and actually re-chipped an NBA Jam Tournament Edition board to be Judge Dredd.
Cool.
Then we had a ridiculous sound issue that we managed to fix, and then
How did that end up getting fixed? I know you guys had 10 heads in that cabinet trying to figure that out.
me and Seth were mostly working on it, and we tested everywhere, and it ended up just being a bad processor chip. So we swapped that out, and sound was working. And then the cabinet just did not want to get up and running. And the monitor went out. We got a new monitor for it. Then once it was fully up and running, we had all the side art on it. We had all custom made all that side art. We had.
It's outstanding, by the way. That's a
Thank you.
Came out nice.
incredible looking cabinet.
Yeah.
Thank you. The artwork was based on the original cabinet, but that one was drawn And ours was more, we had the actual picture of Judge Dredd from the game, which was actually played by Sal DeVita.
That's awesome.
Who was Night Wolf in Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. Wearing a prosthetic chin. And, really cool. A lot of cool elements about that game, though. But once we had everything working, we noticed that the game would crash. And seemingly it was just at a random time. Then we narrowed it down to being when you threw the bomb, the game would crash. And then we narrowed it down to when you threw the bomb and it hit a certain enemy, it would crash.
It seems very specific.
It was. How
long did that take? I mean, honestly, how long?
There was about 2 weeks where we were like, what is going on here? Like, why is this crashing at different times? Like, why can I play through at one time and then other time it just won't work? And
do people have any clue how much time you've spent? I mean, this is one game.
No,
you know?
this
and they're not all that difficult, but but some of them you spent days just trying to get the thing going. You know?
Well, we spent probably 4 days working on the artwork.
Wow.
We spent a lot making that custom control panel. 3 players. We wanted all the sticks the right color. Having to do a lot of woodwork. We had to countersink the sticks and everything. When we were burning the ROMs for the game, sometimes the ROM will actually verify and say, hey, yeah, this ROM worked great, but it's something wrong with the ROM and the data's there, but the ROM isn't working properly. So I burned a full second set of ROMs and swapped them, and it just was not working. And basically, we came down to there's a bad animation. So we thought it was we had actually tried it in MAME, and the game played fine.
Okay.
So the data was there.
Yeah.
And everything worked, and then it was like maybe there's something wrong on the board. So we got a brand new NBA Jam board and put it in, and it had a graphical problem.
Damn.
Why wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So we had to swap the graphics processors off of the old NBA Jam, well, now the old Judge Dredd board, put it on the new board, and tried to get it running. It all worked great. Swapped the ROMs over, and everything worked perfect. It's like, wow, we fixed it. Somehow it was on the board. Then we set it up for scoring and adjusted the dip switches, and the crash came back.
Oh.
And it was so
Oh my God.
As soon as we did that, it was instant that it was like I went in the test mode and looked at the dip switches, and there's a blood on off. And if you have blood set to off, it doesn't know what to do. So it will, it was an off on, but they had it reversed. So you would want it on, but in that it would mean it was off.
It would play as it was off.
Yes.
Okay.
I can't believe that game has that option.
Well, it was literally the same thing for Mortal Kombat.
Right.
So they had used the same menus even, and just switching that one dip switch made the game not crash.
And who would have checked that first?
Yeah, it was. That was a rough one. It was a lot of added unnecessary time. But,
what a headache.
It was a learning experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's playing great now. It's really fun. Definitely it was an exploratory game. Like Midway was trying to do a lot of things in that game where they were just testing stuff out. So
where's it going to go in the arcade? Is it going to go by the Mortal Kombat row?
It is a Midway game.
Because it would be a great addition to that MK lineup.
That
because of the size.
Line is getting pretty long.
Yeah, it's going to be out to the street.
Well, I guess that's a very good segue. Where is that going to go? I guess we can use this as a segue to a pretty big announcement of, and was that, I think it was the last podcast. After the podcast, I was going to go make a phone call.
Yeah.
Talk with our landlord. about the much-needed expansion.
Outstanding.
And there is great news to announce that the expansion is progressing. We have finalized our plan, and we have already talked with the village, and we are clear to move ahead with our expansion. What we will be doing is temporarily we will be losing our tournament room. All this space will move up front to where the production hallway is currently. And we will be gaining the front half of Air Chef. And we'll be knocking down walls, and we will be able to expand over there. We'll be moving our production offices to a new area. And then so that will be the first fix. And from that, we should be able to have about probably 300 more games go up.
I'll bring you 250 of them.
How about some bigger games?
That's my limit. How about some giant games that take up the
How
room
about
of
something
8
that
games?
something that rhymes with garious, but
Ooh.
but isn't?
We have we do have 4 very large games on the way. 2 are here.
One people know about. Mostly.
One people.
Cat's out of the bag. Cat's out of the bag.
I have a hard time keeping some of that stuff quiet. If you come up to any of us on Saturday, ask us what is over in your new area, we'll take you over and play it.
Oh,
And right now
so outstanding.
huge shout outs to Sam Gates on our production side, who drove out to Michigan. Yes, Michigan.
Yeah. Almost Canada.
Yes.
That's pretty
to
close.
pick up a very large cabinet for us that is now here, that I literally only a couple hours ago set up and played for the first time. So we have another import game sitting here.
You have any clues? Is there any clues?
People can come in and ask. It's pretty fun though.
Is it 3D?
There's a 3D element to it.
It's 3D. I just played it too. It's insane.
But back to the expansion. Yeah, we are. It's all green lights from here. Currently, we have on hand about 130 games that we can put up. So 300 games going on the floor is good, but
It'll fill up quick.
it'll fill up quick. So we are talking with our landlord about getting the last building that is one door down from where the production offices are now. That's actually about an equal space to where our offices are now. That should probably allow us to get over that 1,000 game mark. So everything's going ahead. Again, we've mentioned a few times, it's going to be a lot of building out. More details to come for sure, but definitely never a better time to push our fundraiser. You can check that out at gallopingghostarcade.com/fundraiser. We really want to make this place bigger and better and keep adding that. We have so much to add, and now's the time that we can finally pull ahead. And we are so grateful to all the everybody's been so generous with us already. And we hope that everybody's liked the triple expansion that we've already done. But this is really the last big shot for it to really grow. And how amazing would it be if we had over 1,000 games all in one area? The building would shoot up to be 4 buildings long. So we'd have pretty much the whole block.
You'd be the largest arcade times 2.
Yeah.
For 75
be-
cents a day. Sally Struthers did it, man.
Well,
For all those
again,
kids fed.
any money that is donated goes to help us with our build-out costs, and every dollar really helps, and we greatly appreciate it. We have we still have our donation box up at the front counter. Huge shout-outs to everybody that has donated so far.
Yeah, you can use credit card if people are wondering if you're in and you want to use credit card. You can do that. We can run it through and then put cash in there.
PayPal either?
You can PayPal Galloping Ghost at gallopingghostarcade.com. And again, every dollar just goes right back in to make this place even better. So can't wait for that. And stay tuned. We'll be having a lot more information on that as it comes up. And
that is very exciting.
We're gonna try to do. We'll announce when we're doing it, but the completion date, we just want to be able to be like, yeah, all the walls are down. It's all done. Here it is. 50 more games on the floor.
Can you imagine sitting here and looking
all the way down?
I mean, that's wow.
It's gonna be.
I can't even imagine that.
It's gonna be a pretty amazing walking around.
Yeah.
So.
Remember, you got rid of that back room, and it just seemed like it's like the size of Walgreens in there. You know, it's all games.
Yeah, it's just that's what it should be. It's like, what else do you need? Just more and more arcade.
Nothing. It's all in the name, arcade.
Oh, there is something else. We need Tony's open 24 hours.
That is also done.
Oh, okay.
Starting today, Tony's restaurant back being 24 hours.
Biscuits and gravy, so much you can't even eat them all for like $6.
It's definitely
shout outs to Tony's.
Shout outs to Tony's, and very happy that they are back being 24 hours. So you stay here till 2 in the morning. Can go right across the street, still grab a really good meal.
They will be happy with that decision also, probably.
Yes, I am sure they will be happy with that decision. It's the right decision. Let's see, what else? What else do we have coming up?
We have some events coming up. We have American Horror Scoring next month, right?
Yes, that will be, I believe, the week of Halloween.
So it's a month away, yeah.
Yes. Again,
already.
It's coming up quick.
Wow.
Can't wait for that. We'll make a post on Facebook very soon.
Do you know how many games there are going to be?
Not yet.
Okay.
What kind of games? All Splatterhouse and Carnival and House of the Dead.
Yeah, it was all
that type of
horror
stuff.
themed last year, and that was a fun one.
What is the title of the winner?
Mm.
The King or Queen of Scream?
I believe that's what we.
Was that
I
what
don't
it
know.
was?
I don't remember.
Is there going to be a crown? Will they be?
You get
put
a
a
plaque.
crown on them?
You get your plaque, and the plaque goes up on the wall.
Nice.
Cool.
I'd have to check and see who won last year.
Actually, I don't remember.
I don't either.
Yeah.
We also have the Troll Bowl 2 coming up, which
Troll.
so I can't. Brian Colin, that guy.
Outstanding guy.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw
Great
you.
guy,
You
great
just did
guy.
a Brian Colin collection.
I did. We had a
You had Pigskin.
Pigskin arch rivals.
You posted
and
that. Didn't that sell in like 5 minutes?
The gentleman out at the Analog Bar in Davenport, and you know they were teetering on getting Rampage. We had Rampage World Tour also, and they did not get that. That sold yesterday. There was a $75 off Sunday sale, and somebody grabbed it up right away.
Nice.
So and that will be going to an arcade in Peoria that just opened last week. Yeah, 8-bit.
8-bit arcade.
8-bit, yeah.
Cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah, he's a nice guy too. Nice guy. Not too far, 150 miles from there.
But it was Rampage, Arch Rivals, and Pigskin as a collection. But
Pigskin sold in about 45 minutes. That game never comes up though. That is a very rare. And it wasn't dedicated, unfortunately, but it's got a nice control panel, nice artwork and stuff. So
it's excellent.
Somebody did a nice kit.
Well, we are doing a Pigskin Blitz NBA Jam and Arch Rivals tournament night on October 10th. I believe the festivities will be starting at around 6 or 7. So definitely, if you're interested in some sports tournaments, come on in on Saturday, October 10th.
Cool.
It's such a different. It's the same game. It's football, but they're such different games.
There.
For sure.
I mean, Blitz is like for a serious player, you know. It's like And Pigskin's like so much fun.
Yeah.
It's not serious at all.
You're punching.
Yeah.
and-
I mean, it's a good mix.
Very cool. Is there?
What about the NARC event?
We have.
Or is there going to be an event, or is it?
We will be having a NARC event soon. I'm still working on some details, but more on that to come soon.
Oh, I forgot to mention. I don't think Sean Quigley and Norbert Vale did their grudge match yet, so maybe that'll happen.
I believe I have talked with everybody, and Sean is currently a maybe. He's doing something on the 10th.
Okay.
So we might have to have that on a different night.
Okay.
Like everybody else can make it.
Okay.
So we will see, but we definitely have to have that go down.
Okay.
That grudge match has to be settled once and for all.
Yeah.
Is that on NARC?
There's been a lot of
No,
bickering
on
Facebook. It's our not our rivals. Pigskin. Yeah.
Ooh.
Not bickering, just
They're-
friendly
it's
competition.
a friendly competition,
but it's competition.
but
Yeah.
so it'll be interesting to see who walks away with
The black eye.
with the trophies. Brian Cullen may be here for that. Who knows? Maybe we'll do a Dirty Pigskin tournament that night as well.
Great
And then
game.
with George Petro back out, Scott Mikulski.
Cool. What else is there? Is there anything? Oh, swap meet.
Swap meet, yeah, we're still trying to figure out
Possibly November.
possibly.
Sidewalk sale.
Depending on when construction
Right.
starts, we might have to. It'll be not having this area back in the back tournament area could impact some things. So
Oh, right.
we will have to see, but definitely let us know what events everybody wants to see.
I want to see Konami Week 2.
I think we've missed it as far as an annual.
We did. It was already like in the summer when we did it last time.
You could do Konami Week 1.5.
Okay.
Well, this is the problem. It's like either we're running events 52 weeks a year.
Right.
Like there's so many events that we have, like the Sharp Dress Saturday. We have to do another Sharp Dress Saturday soon. We get a lot of requests for that.
I will not attend that.
You should.
I should wear one of those T-shirts with a picture of a suit on it.
It's got the tie
Right.
like, built into it.
The tuxedo. Or whatever.
But yeah, it's there's definitely we want to keep running great events. We just need to know what everybody wants next.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think that might just about wrap it up.
Yeah. You have
So-
anything else? Or?
No, Jeremy, anything you wanna
No.
tell people how to get in touch with you with their game lists?
Just our cell is 630-364-8163, and it's Prince Arcades on Facebook. In the month of October, we will be releasing a couple goodies. We will have a Paperboy ready. We will have Carnival ready. It's not done being played yet at my place. A Mappy we're in the middle of restoring, and then hopefully by Halloween we'll have a Ghostbusters ready.
Awesome.
So
It's
nobody
timely.
knows
Very
about the
timely.
Ghostbusters yet. Trying to do
Oh.
Carnival and Ghostbusters in the same week.
Exclusive
Ghost Edition.
Ghost Edition stuff.
Yeah.
Information going out.
Yeah.
What's coming up on
You heard
Prince
it here.
Arcades. You heard it here first.
Hurry first.
The only thing I was going to say, if anyone has any topics for like what they want us to talk about on the next podcast, just respond in the comments to this one when we post it. You can either respond on Facebook or on YouTube. Anything you see around the arcade that you're not sure how it works, or what we etiquette wise, what's to be expected, or just in general like what we do here. If you have any questions or comments or feedback, just make sure to drop us a line, and if we can, we'll talk about it in the next podcast.
Awesome. So thanks everybody for Pete Hahn and Gamer of the Year Pete Hahn. Sorry.
That's all right.
The legend.
The legend. And Jeremy Fox of Prince Arcades. This is Doc Mack from the Galloping Ghost Arcade, and we hope to see you around the arcade soon. Thanks a lot, everybody.